Okay, focus on your live stream and let YouTube insert ads for you. Turn on, why not? Hi and welcome to chapter 4. If you have made it so far, you know what the engagement system is. You know how to have the distinction between direct and indirect pleasure, and you know how to play the 3-minute game and what the 3-minute game is all about, and so on and so forth. Now in chapter 4 we go into intimate relating and how you can apply all these dynamics in your relationships and in your daily life, relating with your beloved one, with your friends, with your colleagues, with family, or with whomever you just want to relate with. Okay. Again, this reading about the book Orgasmic Blueprint, Tools for Pleasure, Desire and Consent for Individuals, Couples and Intimacy Professionals. You find more about myself in that book. Please feel absolutely welcome and free to buy the book on Amazon if my reading sucks and have your own experience of reading it. And you can get it as well on my webpage as a PDF and EPUB to download, so feel totally free to get it there. Again, this reading and all other readings come with a link to a video with a description, so I do that here again. And the start of the intimate relating and is the 4-pillar of relating map, and you will find more details in a little bit. Okay, let's get started. Chapter 4, Intimate Relating. The real you sees the real me. When I formed the dynamics of the Somatic Consent Engagement System into the base, the zones and the apex, the 4 pillars of relating became a logical agreement guide for functional intimate relating. And why that is, that's where I'm going next. So, the 4 pillars of relating. The whole point of intimacy is to serve each other in growth and love, hopefully in better ways than we can serve ourselves. Otherwise, why engage in intimacy if your growth and love are served more by living alone? Good question. Intimacy is about growing more than you could by yourself through the art of mutual gifting. That's a quote from David Data. I'm not the biggest fan of David Data, but I love that quote. He has written some good stuff, I need to say. The 4 pillars are agreements for co-engagement and relating with crystallized over the last 4 years while practicing the 3-minute game. So the more you play, the more the 4 pillars will become transparent and obvious to you as well. So don't make it a cognitive, rational, mental process. Play the 3-minute game, opening up your inflow, and get that as a neurological embodiment in your body, and everything will change. This is a promise that I can totally stand behind, and I do. So the 4 pillars of relating is a map here. So they are the 4 pillars. There's a video to that, but there is more to that in a little bit. And so nowadays, I personally create clear agreements using an adaptation of the 4 pillars with anybody I engage with, whether with a friend, colleague, or relative. While my own actions towards others are still defined by asking individual permission for each action, this promotes any kind of interaction, not necessarily touch-related, and allows others to be as they are while I take care of my limits, remaining grounded in being a living invitation so that people can feel comfortable to reach out and approach me with whatever they want. So, relationship, the zone in between. To know yourself, it's to study oneself in action with another person. I love that quote, and this is from Bruce Lee. I love that quote. Again, to know oneself is to study oneself in action with another person. So, what's the action? Who is it for? I'm a relationship person. I love to relate. I feel people and be felt. Although I played sensually with thousands of people, intercourse has always been special to me, a more intimate experience I've chosen to share with less than 50 partners. I'm 55. 50 partners, I think. My body count is, I think, okay. Or too little, I don't know. You choose. I've experimented in the King, BDSM, and Tantra scene, been to swinger clubs and other hedonistic environments such as the Kit Kat Club in Berlin, and had anonymous sex through online dating sites. I've cheated on my partners and been cheated on. I was faithful, married for 8 years, have been in monogamous, polyamorous, and open relationships. I've also been single for long periods of time in between with no sexual encounter at all, and I would call myself a sex-positive person. I feel very relaxed with experimenting with ideas of intimacy, love, and connection, and ever learning more about relating with others in a joyful and meaningful way for the purpose of growth and transformation. One of the most important things I've learned in life is that when a relationship is based on assumption and framed by telepathic agreements, it isn't really a relationship at all. When we assume we know the other and their motives, we never really get to know each other in any depth or create real intimacy. We base our knowledge on the other entirely on our own perspective and wishful thinking of how things should be. So we presume, expect, get disappointed, and feel justified in our disappointment. And this leads to frustration, anger, resentment, and reactive patterns of behavior. In this dynamic, no one feels truly safe enough to let go and reveals themselves. So there is no should and shouldn't in relationships. So we were all conditioned by the society we grow up and have lived in, and each culture has its own social norms, the behavior it accepts or rejects, its unspoken shoulds or should nots, while some social rules are in place to protect the citizens within them. Many stem from repeated age-old traditions that aren't necessarily true and remain largely unchallenged. So many of our beliefs are based on oversimplified assumption masquerading as timeless common sense. And if we look a little deeper, we can see that many of these rules are actually fake wisdom. So when we accept them without questioning, they can shape our view of the world, lulling us into accepting things that are actually false and foolish. I need to say something here. I just got new teeth, so you might have seen that. And sometimes I have some difficulty speaking, so the S and Z and Sh and TH doesn't come always so naturally. So please forgive me if I'm just like hanging on some words sometimes. So would you agree that each one of us has a different experience of life? How many of your acquaintances brought up in a similar background as yourself have very different values, beliefs, likes or dislikes from your own? How often have you clashed with members of your own family due to contrasting opinions? Can you think of an incident from your youth that influences you to have a fear or a strong belief you carried through to adulthood? Did all your friends have the very same experience? So our personalities are just like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, largely made from our experience that results in a very different image. We only have our own picture of life, our perspective formed from our own unique experience. So if this is true, it is logical to assume others should have in a certain way the same. In reality, strong reactions to how others should or shouldn't behave come about when our own personal boundaries are crossed, something another person does or say that isn't in line with what we are personally comfortable with. Meanwhile, the other has their own personal outlook based on their own perspective, derived from their own experiences of life. And this is how most misunderstanding happens between people. Just take the microphone a little bit closer here. I lost it. Here. We are all multi-layer and complicated, presuming others act in certain ways for reasons which seems clear to us. It's very uncertain territory. No one is right or wrong, presuming someone should or shouldn't act in a certain way without actually voicing preferences and coming to agreements in expectations based on thin air. So what kind of unagreed upon expectations have you brought into relationships with family, friends, or your lover? Good question, right? How do you expect them to behave and react? How do you feel when they don't fulfill these expectations? How often have you pointed the finger at someone, labeling them as wrong because their behavior triggered an emotion unique to your own personal experience? How often did this result in blame and reactive actions on your part? Have you ever told someone they should or shouldn't behave in a certain way? There's no should or shouldn't in relationship, just different perspectives that need clarifying through agreements. So if that can't be done, real connection or intimacy won't happen. So we are all motivated to protect ourselves. So safety is a basic human need. It's the primary motivation factor in each person's life. So when our safety is threatened, the sympathetic nervous system switches to fight and flight mode so that we can fight to protect ourselves or run away from the threat. What kind of people are you drawn to? We usually like people who are like us, and this basic principle enables us to feel safe, but we can't expect others to be carbon copies of ourselves with the very same belief system, values, likes, dislikes, I have chosen a word here I should not have chosen. Indocracies. This is embarrassing. I don't know why I've chosen such a stupid word. I can't pronounce it. So, okay. And opinions on how things should be. How do you communicate when you feel uncomfortable with someone else's action? Clearly, when this happens, one of your boundaries is being crossed. This usually results in feeling unsafe. Though, if you haven't made your limits clear, can you expect the other not to cross them? More often than not, we blame and shame the others when this occurs. So with this in mind, consider how the following two remarks would feel if someone you care for said them to you. If you have experience in non-violent communication, authentic relating, or radical honesty, this will already be familiar to you. Scenario 1, blame and shame. You shouldn't do that. It's rude, annoying, disgusting, hurtful. Not how a mother, friend, son, daughter, lover behaves, and so on. Scenario 2, when you do that, I feel. So when you do that, I feel embarrassed, resentful, annoyed, disappointed, insecure, unappreciated, jealous, etc. Notice the difference? So when we point the finger in blame and tell someone their behavior is wrong, their natural instinct will be to defend themselves. Announcing should and shouldn't, it's like passing a guilt verdict before a trial has had a chance to take place. It feels very threatening to the accused and often prompts some form of retaliation. Another English fuck up. Or them fleeing from the scene entirely. So when we, on the other hand, point the finger at ourselves, explaining how we feel, it takes away the accusation that the other is in the wrong. Yes, their behavior affects us. However, that is due to our own individual experience of life and perception of what triggers our emotions and doesn't align with our likes, dislikes, beliefs, and values, or fails to meet an expectation we have. I need to change something because my iPad is blinking. Something is being sent all the time. Okay, that's out of the way. So when we, on the other hand, point the finger at ourselves, I said that already. I'll just read it again from this point. So when we, on the other hand, point the finger at ourselves, explaining how we feel, it takes away the accusation that the other is in the wrong. Yes, their behavior affects us. However, that is due to our own individual experience of life and perception of what triggers our emotions and doesn't align with our likes, dislikes, beliefs, and values, or fails to meet an expectation we have. When the other doesn't feel like they have been accused, when it's clear that you take responsibility for your own feelings, it is so much easier for them to reflect and empathize. Then it's also easier for both to navigate emotional responses within relationship, define limits, and come to agreements. Communication through an exchange of information using I statement has to be there before lovemaking. I feel anxious when you say that. How do you feel? I can emphasize with that feeling, thanks for sharing that, I had no idea. So in response. So the structure of a relationship is built by the people creating it. It's a container held together by the glue of their agreements. So when agreements are made, a sense of safety is established. And when we feel safe, we let go, and there's no need to build walls. Both can stand truly naked before another, and intimacy can happen as a natural result. Here's a relationship map based on the 4 pillars. They actually go hand in hand with, the microphone is in the way. They go hand in hand as well with the engagement system and the entire structure. Okay, you find as well a video in here and in the description below. So the relationship maps correlates directly with the engagement zone, so permission and agreement through making offers and requests, and the 4 pillars of relating. So the Somatic Consent Engagement System invites us to create agreements within relationships by making clear requests and offers, formulating verbal consent by being aware of and clarifying. So what's going to happen, where and when, who is doing the action, who is it for, and for how long. The relationship map shows how to create this container using the 4 layers of the Somatic Consent Engagement System. So layer 1 is the base. That's self-care. I am responsible for my feelings and you're responsible for your feelings. We are both committed to staying open and noticing our own truth. So the first layer of encounter is established each person's base. Every individual has to know their own base so that their system's default setting is one of connection to self and self-care. Clarifying that I'm responsible for my feelings and you're responsible for your feelings. In other words, you don't have to take care of me and I don't have to take care of you, because if we can't take care of ourselves, how can we take care of others without burning ourselves out? So making agreements that take into account our limits are determined by and dependent on our boundaries. If we are not aware of our boundaries or we haven't agreed upon limits, we constantly feel that our boundaries are being crossed. And if we don't know how to ask for our desires, we don't get our needs met. To know what our boundaries and needs are, we have to come back to our base again and again and again. We have to check in with ourselves and awareness, whatever the situation we are in or experience we are having, and ask, what's going on with me emotionally, so that we know when we are triggered, hungry, need a break, to stretch or lay down, to be alone, need a change, or to relocate. Only then can we make a conscious choice in how we can take care of ourselves optimally. To act in self-care, it is foundation. To act in self-care is the foundation of health. It gives us a stable base and with it the ability to function as grounded individuals. Layer 2, the permission line. So when permission is granted, the person doing the action is doing it for their own benefit. So whenever we have a desire that includes another person, we have to ask for what we want. And the only healthy way to do this is a request asking, can I do that for myself? I give you permission to feel me. I ask for permission to feel you. Both people take care of their personal limits. So asking permission is to do something. Can I, or giving permission for someone to do something for you? Yes, you can. Permission are clarified with the other person and limits respected. So if you in someone else's space, make it clear what you have permission to do and be specific by asking, for example, do I have permission to do what I like in this space? Can I open the cupboards, go into your bedroom and lie or sleep in the bed? Where are the limits of what you are comfortable with? Are there places you don't want me to go to? So when engaging with a friend or lover, you can suggest going into a journey for a specific period of time, maybe a few hours, the night or longer. Here you could ask, for example, do I have permission to touch you? And what are your limits? An answer would be, I don't want any sexual genital touch, no exchange of bodily fluids. I don't want intercourse, just want to stay close, or you can touch me anywhere except my ears. Okay, that's getting a little bit dark. Let's change the light a little bit. That's better. With this clarity, you know the other's limits and therefore what the limits of engagements are. Whenever you're not sure where the exact limits are, you can be specific. Can I touch your neck? Can I stroke your hair? Can I lean against your shoulder? Can I touch your leg? Play with your foot? Rub your back? You could also use the second step of the 4 pillars of relating, giving the other, for example, an infinite permission to touch, to do what they want to do, however they want to, and tell them you take care of your own limits, letting them know as they arise within the established container or frame of a time agreed upon. That's so crucial. I can really promise you that's good. Layer 3, the agreement line, the end of pleasing. In agreement, the person doing the action is doing it for the benefit of the other person. So if I want you to do something for me, I will ask you. So no request, no action, and vice versa. Asking someone to do something for you means, can you do such and such? Or agreeing to do something for someone, yes, I can do such and such, whatever that is. The agreement we have with another will differ depending on the established container, either long or short term, personal or social or professional. So when we come into a new environment with new people, we have no idea what their limits are. We have no idea of their do's and don'ts, and so we tend to tiptoe around others to avoid conflicts. We might, for example, generally want guests who come to our home to feel good and possibly feel under stress to take care of them. To make the community experience easier, it's good to consciously communicate about your limits and desires and create agreements about what's going to, not going to happen. So if you want me to do something for you, please ask me. If I want you to do something for me, I will ask you. If I don't ask, don't give. Feel free to make yourself a drink, use the bathroom, put your feet up and change the music. Please don't go in my bedroom though. If we both make a mess, then I prefer we both clean it up. Layer 4, the apex. Giving a gift, being a gift. So this is where a normal relationship is happening without the 3 layers before, so permission, agreement, and base. So there's something running here. And I will play a little ad. I'm so excited to take a moment and share with you my de-armoring and sexual empowerment coaching certification. This program has been around for almost 10 years and is my highest offering. Sexual wellness is forecasted to be a $125 billion industry by 2026. Why? Because Tantra is booming like yoga 20 years ago, and people are more ready than ever to express their sexuality, build deeply connected relationships, and have the most outrageous orgasms and erotic experience of their lives. However, most people are never taught how to do any of this, how to have extraordinary relationships and the sex that they really crave. They're looking for qualified, confident professionals to teach them. So my de-armoring and sexual empowerment coaching certification is a powerful one-year professional program that helps many coaches become incredibly successful and highly paid professionals. This program doesn't just train you in every aspect of the coaching process so that you can build a successful online business. This coaching also walks you through the personal transformation of a lifetime, because the best coaches have done their work themselves. And on top, I show you all the tech secrets how to create a thriving online business. But first and foremost, you'll discover transformative techniques like the empowerment tools, meditation practices, and pleasuring pathway that you'll apply to your own life first. Then you use all the same proven tools and techniques to get laser-focused results for your clients. We also hold an exclusive de-armoring training just for our coaching students and alumni every year. In this training, you'll experience a 10-day of live teaching with other teachers and me, refining your skills as a de-armoring. All right, that was a little bit premature button pushing. Anyway, we're back. I offer you some certifications. All right. Layer 4, the apex, giving a gift, being a gift. I am a gift and giving a gift with no attachment because it's free. If we have a compulsion to make others feel good, then we have to ask ourselves why. Is it coming from a genuine place of generosity, from a place of beingness without expectation, or receiving something back in return? True gift giving is a choice, and that comes from a place of altruism. And this clean giving can feel similar to the shadow side of giving, such as giving in order to be accepted. And they can also coexist. The shadow comes up when there is an agenda, an expectation, and attachment to outcome. Altruistic giving comes from a place of, if I give a gift, it comes from a free place of generosity. I don't want anything in return. What you do with it is your choice. I don't have any expectation that you'll do or behave in a certain way if I give you a gift. That would be so awesome if that could be done everywhere, but it's not. This is giving a gift from a place of love and care. It's not about recognition for your efforts. It's not that you do something to receive. When I make a cup of tea for someone, I do it with love for them. If we look at giving in this way, your love is not less if the other doesn't want a cup of tea. So, relationship or relationship. Most people's level of relationship can be humorously referred to as relationship, because the lack of authentic relating leads to so much disharmony. Most relationships are assumption-based, with many actions resulting from a vague deduction without a clear container about what is going to happen and who is it for. So before beginning a deeper relationship with a new partner in the past, I suggested we hang out together and play the 3-minute game. So Plato once said that we can learn more about someone from an hour of play than a year of conversation, and that's so true. It's a small amount of time, and it's possible to feel how much someone is in touch with themselves and to discover common ground in a fun way. So the 3-minute game can help you to avoid the wrong relationship. So for the first stage of our new relationship, we decided to play by creating a one-night stand time frame, where we agreed to meet and play with each other for a specific amount of time, 14 hours. After which we closed a container and ended this phase of our relationship with each other. So before playing, we made our limits clear and agreed that our encounter during the game wouldn't be without climaxing. So having an orgasm or getting the other person off. That, however high the desire was there, would be no intercourse or exchange of bodily fluids. So how we played with the 4 pillars of relating. The first pillar, the base. So we started with the relationship agreements of self-care at the base, and by committing to staying open to noticing our own experience and truth, and agreeing that I am responsible for my feelings and you are responsible for your feelings. We intentionally agreed not to play with shadows, i.e. no dominating or pushing, but just to spend time together because that's what we both wanted. The second pillar, the engagement zones. We both expressed mutual permission. I give you permission to feel my however you want to, while I will take care of my limits. And I ask your permission, and I ask your permission to feel you while you take care of your limits. We agreed we didn't want to do something to get a reaction, so pleasing the other for our own benefits. Rather than we wanted to feel ourselves by focusing our individual sensory somatic inflow simultaneously. And this was already an invitation to the apex to do this at the same time. The third pillar, the engagement zones. We both agreed, if I want you to do something for me, I will ask. If you want me to do something different or something specific, you'll ask. If there's no request, there is no action except for gift giving. If we choose not to ask for anything, it meant we didn't want anything. Simple. The fourth pillar, the apex. We then agreed if either you or I want to give a gift, it's free. There is no attachment to an outcome. What we do with the given gift is each person's choice. We don't need to give anything back. Therefore, I want to give you a back massage because it looks like your shoulders are aching. And I'm giving it as a gift because I have the capacity to give, no more or no less. And this is exactly what I help people to embody when I offer a course on relationships. Any kind of encounter is more or less based on this dynamics. This is the foundation of relationships, at least in my world. The agreements you have with another person, specifically when it comes to intimate relationships between lovers. So when my present lover and I began our relationship, we discussed exactly these points. Our relationship is still based on those four pillars, and whenever we begin to struggle, we pause to honestly look at what's going on in that moment. So to take a look at ourselves and understand why we've encountered a glitch. It's easy to deconstruct when using the four pillars of relating map. We ask ourselves, so did I ask for something that I wanted you to do, or is it my perception influenced by a shadow? For example, taking without permission, not voicing my limits, not voicing my no. I feel frustrated or disappointed because I'm basing my expectation on an assumption and what you should do. The apex within the relationship map. So we embody the space at the apex by practicing connection. And when each person takes responsibility to stay open to their present sensory inflow, wants to ask for and has permission to touch the other, we can make connection physically, sensually, intimately, and possibly sexually. Transformation, arriving at the apex, then happens automatically because you are able to recognize yourself as a gift, and that you simply being there, being you, is enough without having to do anything to belong. So the apex is a natural state of being, and you are a gift as you authentically are without doing anything. And the love you receive is not dependent on providing anything. So there are so many different possible ways leading to the state of merging experiences at the apex. So this altruistic place of connection, or simply being and sharing the gift of yourself with the world. No pathway is any better than another. Just as there are different people drawn to different things, a specific path will resonate more with you personally than another might. Within the somatic consent teaching, you can feel the gradual transformation and embodiment of this state as you practice. Honestly with self and the other. Again. Honesty with self and the other is how it works. You make an agreement that you'll share how you feel. Therefore, when two people who want to spend time with each other practice the direct route, but one gets confronted by feeling of vulnerability, they can say, for example, I'm hesitant to ask you for a back massage because I'm afraid you say no. So when we share our vulnerability, the other can see themselves more easily in you. They may also be holding back and finding it difficult to ask for what they want, in the fear of possibility being rejected. And this kind of clarity can relax and agree on an exchange such as, how about 30 minutes massage each? This kind of open relating only ends in bliss. There is no guesswork, no tension, no fear. This is where the beauty in relating really is. So when we feel open and connected, your love is amplified within this kind of space. All right, that was the introduction to relationship, the 4 pillars of relating. This is really awesome. I always was thinking of doing more about that. So I have an entire online course that calls the 4 pillars of relating. So you find all these structures there with lots of videos. Anyway, you find the video of this specific map in the description below. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. And again, if you rather read it yourself and you don't want to listen to my voice, please get the book on Amazon as a hard copy or as a paperback, and you might even like my reading, and that's the reason why you want to have the book. So who knows? There's as well on the webpage a PDF and EPUB that you can download. It's on special, 50% less than normally, and you can share that with friends, colleagues, lovers, whomever you want to share that with. Please like and subscribe, and to get notifications when the next live reading is. And if you have any comments or questions or statements, whatever you want to say, please point them in the section below under comments. I will personally answer them and go into them. Till then, stay in love with yourself and feel an object. Play the 3-minute game. Okay, much love, and thanks for joining. Bye.